Morning, morning. I'm Bovell, and this is the online pilgrimage with Temple Way Church. And I've been asked to do these devotions, and we've been looking at the parables of Jesus. I really love these stories because they're made up stories used to illustrate particular points about the deeper things in life, the deeper realities of what it means to be human, and what the nature of the universe really is. And this time I'm looking at one of the stories that's recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25. And it starts off, it says, "For as if a man going on a journey summoned his servants and entrusted them with his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1. And he went away. The one who had received the 5 talents went off and traded them and made 5 more talents. In the same way, the one who had 2 talents made 2 more. And the one who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. And after a long time, the master came back to settle accounts with them, and he went to the one who received 5 talents, and he came forward bringing 5 more talents. He says, 'Master, you handed over me 5 talents. See, I've made 5 more talents.' And the same thing is recorded. He says, his master says to him, 'Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' And the one who had been given 2 talents said to him, 'Master, you handed me 2 talents. I've made 2 more talents.' He says to him, 'Well done. You've been trustworthy in a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' And then the one who'd received 1 talent also came forward and said, 'Master, I know that you are a harsh man, reaping where you do not sow and gathering where you do not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours.' And the master said, 'You're wicked and you're lazy. You knew, did you, that I reap where I did not sow and gather where I do not scatter? Then you ought to have invested my money with bankers, and on my return I would have received my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to the one with 10 talents. For those who have more will be given, and those who have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away.'" It's kind of a deep story, right? This whole idea that there's a master who gives his servants talents, and traditionally this particular parable has been translated to describe the talent that lies within each human individual. And yeah, that's true, isn't it? Each one of us has hidden treasures in our souls and in our hearts. Especially when we think about creativity, each one of us has the ability to imagine things that don't currently exist, and then through our ingenuity and through our hard work and through our ability to get things done, to make things become part of reality, we're able to allow those things to become a part of the real world, right? If you got a book that you wanted to write, or if you've got a particular way you wanted your body to look, or if you've decided that you want to create a particular relationship or family or a business or whatever, we've got, as humans, that unique talent and ability to be able to conceive of something in our minds and then make it happen. It's really deep. When we look at this story of the parable of the talents, now we've got this whole idea being described that once you've got an ability to do something and you start to invest it, you start to work on it, then it develops and it grows, because whatever you focus on becomes your reality. That's the beauty of being a human, that you can actually focus on something and then you get more of it. If you focus on positivity, then you become more positive. If you focus on anger, then you become more angry, right? It works both ways. There is an opportunity for you to enter into new realities that can be positive or that can be negative. Your capacity as a human for that is in many ways unlimited, because your mind is unlimited, right? You've got talent, but it's your focus on whether or not you can use it that means whether it is abundant or not, whether it means it is something that can be maximized and increased or not, is largely dependent on whether or not you believe it can be. And that's what we see in this story. That's what the parable's about. You've got the first servant who comes and has got like, yeah, I had 5, I invested 5 more. Now you've got 10, because he didn't just wait around for everything to be perfect. He started to invest and took the chance of trying to plant some seeds, took the chance of trying to make some decisions, make some investments, make some brave choices, instead of doing like what the third guy does, which is to just bury the talent, right? Because he's afraid that he's going to lose it. So he buries it in order to be able to give it back to the master safe and sound when he comes back. And you can see in the text it says that, yeah, I knew that you are a harsh man and that you reap where you didn't sow. And really that's all about his perception of the master. Obviously that's not the reality of the way the master is, right? Because if he is like that, then he wouldn't have given out the 5 talents generously and the 2 talents generously to the other 2 servants, and even the 1 talent to this guy, right? So the question that's coming up now is, how do you discover your talents and your purpose attached to them? I think that's a really great question. I think there are 3 ways to discover what your talents are. Firstly, what are you good at? There must be something that you find easy, and even though you might find it easy and it seems really simple to you, there are others who will really struggle with that. For some people, maths is like simple. Obviously you have to put the work in, but there are certain things that make sense to them. For me, music makes sense to me. I've never had to struggle to understand it. I've had to struggle to get better in terms of being able to be accomplished and mastering different music programs, but music itself has made sense to me, like the structure of a song, or how a melody should be, or how the bass line should be, etc. So because I know that, and that's something that I like and that I'm good at, that means that's a talent for me, something that I think about. So that's the first way. The second way is that other people might tell you that you've got a talent. When I was a young guy, I never really thought that I could speak publicly, that I was any good at it, but people kept telling me that I was good at it. I didn't really necessarily believe that for myself, but they confirmed it for me. And then I started to get more confident in the fact that I could do something, that I could speak articulately to other people and get a point across, right? The third way is, what makes you angry, I would say. Maybe there are some things in this world that you think are unjust. Many of the Bible characters, we sort of talk about how they had a special relationship with God, and I'm sure that's true. But for many of them, the reality was that they were moved by the plight of their people, and because they were moved by the plight of their people and they saw problems in their society, they decided that they were going to do something about it. They got angry, and then they realized that, okay, this is an area where I have talent. I can see this injustice towards women. I can see this injustice towards ethnic minorities. I can see that there is a need for these children to be protected. Do you see what I mean? And then they decided to move. So I think those 3 ways. What are you good at? What have other people said you're good at? And what do you what causes you to sort of develop anger? Yeah. All right. So once you've discovered your talent, right, which is often not an easy process, but once you've discovered your talent, then you have to get working on making it a reality. You have to put it out there and see what happens, right? The worst thing you can do is not do anything. A lot of times we're worried that we're going to get it wrong, that we're going to mess up, that we're going to embarrass ourselves, etc., etc. But the reality is that it's actually even better for you to get it wrong than to not do anything. Because when you get it wrong, at least you'll know, you know, I'm not really supposed to be down this route. This is not my lane, right? But if you sit there going back and forth, burying your talent, so to speak, right, burying your abilities, burying your skills, or your suspected skills, if you don't really have that much experience in using your talents, then you're in a limbo, right? That's what that's the story. That's what's going on with this guy. He's in a limbo because he doesn't have focus enough to be able to try something new. And that's what I love about this parable. I mean, Jesus is just saying, you don't have to be perfect. Just try something. Step out in faith, in bravery, with courage, with curiosity, with creativity, and use your talents for something that is going to make the world better, for something that's going to allow people to feel lighter, for something that's going to allow the world to be a better place. Well, I think we've handled it for this morning with this parable. My challenge to you is to think about your focus, because what you focus on becomes your reality. And if you believe that reality is against you and harsh, then that can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe that you can invest in things and make a change, then that too will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Peace.